So Fraser, we've arrived at the World Duty Free store, operated of course on a long-term basis by Avulta, and a key partner of course for Heathrow Airport. We'll have a little wander through now and talk a little bit about each of the key categories in here, beginning with beauty. Obviously a key message is around 20% off fragrances, as we can see in the background, and that's something I know you've collaborated on with both the retailer and with the brands under the new VAT rules. So maybe we'll just walk and talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, and I don't want to sound a little bit like a stock record, but that VAT position of the government has meant that it's really important that we do get that message to consumers that we are prepared and they're still going to get great value despite that VAT position. So, you know, having those simple messages but very hopefully impactful in store is important, but equally getting that message out digitally. So as I said before, working with my colleagues in Avulta and with my colleagues in Heathrow to make sure that beforehand we give the message to consumers is really, really important. You can see it's quite busy and buzzy today. Team are all here ready to welcome passengers, but it is tough. You know, working with the brands, making sure we've got the right brands. Avulta do a great job, their category management, doing all of that. But the reality is, consumers in their mind now more and more realise that it's tax paid in the UK and just assume that they're paying the same price as the high street. So we're having to almost start and re-convince them that actually it won't be like that and they will get great value. So it's a difficult bit. So the whole beauty category is difficult. Perfume, we are able to offer some great deals. And Avulta have done a great job. So the perfume part of the overall beauty and perfume category is doing a little bit better, but it's still really, really tough. Okay. As we come round here, continue to work with the Avulta team on some of the other categories, the gifting, the confectionery. I was talking to you, I think earlier, as we enter 2024 now, it was the 200th anniversary of Cadbury, you know, iconic British confectionery business, and you know, excited to work with Avulta and with Jaya and his travel retail team within Mondelez to see what they're going to bring us for that as well. So that's exciting to see. To kind of end the duty-free store and the walk around this store on a bit of a more positive note, where the final part of the journey as we walk around here is into the area where we retail the alcohol. Yep. And alcohol is a category which obviously does have a tax advantage, both duty and VAT, for anybody travelling in internationally. And obviously we have a very small number of domestic passengers, but the vast majority, over 90%, are international. And now we can offer value. So as we come into this area, you will start to see some of the point of sale material very focused on whether it be champagne in front of us with the Moët and Hennessy brands of Moët and Chandon, Veuve Clicquot, you know, driving price, or whether it be, you know, more premium for those Indian consumers, which are a big part of the makeup of the brand. We came with Andrew Cowan and his Diageo travel retail team to reopen the T2 Johnny Walker store. They're doing some experiential here today as well with the sub-brand Extraordinaire. And it's great to see the alcohol brands, given the right policy framework, prepared to invest and have the confidence. But it's not as big a category as some of the others. So although it's a good news story to finish the walk in duty free, you know, an increase in the alcohol doesn't make up for the losses that we are suffering as a travel retail business in total in the core categories of, you know, luxury and that beauty part that we saw. So we'll take the positive and we, you know, respect and recognise that the British government got that right in terms of tax and duty free on alcohol and tobacco, but we call on them again to put it right across the road, as it were, on beauty and in front of us again as we head back towards the luxury area.
Yeah. Now on spirits overall, obviously that's relatively speaking a good news story. How do you see that offer evolving? I mean, clearly there is some investment from the brands here. I mean, Diageo have put in a lot of investment there behind us. Johnny Walker boutique, and obviously the Extraordinaire counter as well. More of that to come. We've been at some of their big high-profile events, as we have with Bacardi and other partners as well down the line. You're still seeing that investment through Avolta and with Avolta and with yourselves from
and I think, well, this is a good perhaps bit to look. So in the distance, as you said, Dermot, you've got the Johnny Walker Blue Label, so a premiumisation of the category. But equally, right beside us, you've got the brands and the price points that you would see in domestic, and we are comparing very clearly on the point of sale, as you can see. So we've got within the category, I think, two distinct parts to alcohol. We've got making sure that we have the brands that consumers would buy and consume in their domestic life, the Bombay Sapphires that we happen to see behind us, or the Tanqueray London Dry Gin, or whatever it is, and that they can get them at the duty and the tax-free price. But at the same time, we work with the brands and with the Avolta to showcase those premium or more unique SKUs within the category, and you need both. So, you know, we showed you earlier the Glenmorangie work that we've done. That's about giving Glenmorangie the opportunity to showcase some of their less easy to find parts of their range. Done the same with Macallan at Terminal 5 to great success, and having the shop-in-shops like the Johnny Walker does the same. So I see the alcohol category very much in two kind of parts. The high street standard SKUs and the regular stuff, and making sure that we work with Avolta on having the ranging, having the availability, and having the price correct, and passing on that advantage. And then secondly, being a great showcase for brands to show the really luxury and newness. And you mentioned there the Bacardi group, you know, their Experience Patron, which we won an award for with Bacardi, with Decaux, with Avolta and ourselves in that Quaternity at Terminal 5. I would see us doing more of that. Avolta did a shop-in-shop with Diageo Group in Don Julio as they were elevating the tequila category again. So again, we see more of that. And we think Heathrow's a great place for those brands to tell those stories and engage consumers. We have to be able, as an industry, to demonstrate to consumers that we're passing on the value of tax and duty free. If I take you back in Cannes, actually, it was the Kearney Group that issued a report which clearly showed that consumers are a bit sceptical, to say the least, that the industry is not necessarily passing on the value, and they don't see the value in duty and tax free. We here in the UK have got an example for the whole of travel retail of the danger when actually governments start to believe that you're not passing on the value, and they take that away, and that's what they've done in the UK on the VAT. And actually one of their reasons, as you'll remember, in their analysis of why they did what they did, was they said they weren't clear that the advantage of the VAT free was being passed on. So whilst we retain the advantage on duty and tax of alcohol, I think it's incredibly important that the industry can demonstrate to consumers and to government that we're passing that advantage on, because if we don't, we have the risk that governments understandably will be sceptical and potentially take it away, and we've got that example, as I say, here in the UK. So on the regular stuff, we have to demonstrate. It's not about, it is about commercial things, of course, but it's actually more than that, Dermot. We have to be able to demonstrate that we're passing on that advantage to the consumer. And then on the luxury side, you know, I think if you look at the public statements that the big alcohol groups make in their trading updates to the various markets, they see that premiumization trend in alcohol. And I think most brands talk about above $100 for a price point as premium. We know from the demographics of Heathrow that we're blessed with that the Heathrow consumer has got deeper pockets. They are very affluent by any measure domestically, and certainly by a travel measure they are very, very good demographically. So it's a great place if you're a Diageo or a Pernod Ricard or any of the big groups, or indeed some of the boutique groups, to showcase your premium products.